One of the most surprising park visits I've ever had was my recent visit to Kemah Boardwalk in Kemah, Texas. This park may not look like much, but holy crap did this park deliver. Naturally, the star of the show here is Boardwalk Bullet, this massive, compact gravity group slash Martin and Fleming's Woody with insane airtime and the most crossovers of any Woody in the world. But there are other things here that really made my first visit here special and memorable. This is one of the two parks operated by Landry's, the other one being Galveston Island Historic Pleasure Pier. So if you really wanted to, you can visit both Landry's parks within a day. For those of you who don't know what Landry's is, it's a privately owned entertainment and dining corporation with multiple restaurants, entertainment venues, casinos, and hotels all around the country. So there's probably a chance that you've either eaten at or stayed at a Landry's owned property before. Now, before I get into the actual review, I want to point out that this park is near the Houston area, so it's pretty far away from any other park besides Galveston Island Historic Pleasure Pier. So if you're in Texas for coasters and you're driving to Kemah from Dallas or San Antonio, it's going to take a few hours to get here, but don't let that discourage you from coming here. It really is worth the drive. Once you arrive at the park, you'll drive by the Kemah Boardwalk Marina, which houses tons of sailboats, and according to the park, is the third largest fleet of recreational boats in America. So that's cool, I guess. For lodging, there is a Holiday Inn not too far away from the park, but I decided to stay at the on-site hotel called the Boardwalk Inn. The Boardwalk Inn gives you a nice view of the Boardwalk's City Walk-esque area, which is where the majority of the park's restaurants are. The weirdest thing about the hotel, in my opinion, is how you get into it. The main way to enter the hotel is actually through the second floor of the parking garage, which I thought was kind of weird, albeit very convenient. The hotel itself is actually very nice. However, there is a somewhat noticeable presence of seawater aroma, which didn't bother me personally. So if you don't mind the smell of seawater, I'd stay here over the Holiday Inn. Also, outside of the park, there's an aquarium next to the Flying Dutchman that you can go into. Just to let you know, the footage you're currently seeing isn't from this particular location. I actually took this at the Downtown Aquarium in Houston, which is also a Landry's property, but they're pretty much the exact same. Now, let's get into the park itself. When you go to enter the park, you'll notice that it doesn't have an official entrance since the park is free to enter. So in order to buy tickets or wristbands, you'll have to find the ticket booth near the Ferris wheel. Speaking of tickets, the ticketing system here is pretty weird. Instead of having to have a certain amount of tickets for the rides like at ZDT's, Kemah Boardwalk actually has individual ride tickets. If you don't understand what I mean, think of it this way. Normally, parks with ticketing systems have you pay a small price for individual tickets, where you can then use a certain amount of them to ride a ride. But here, you essentially pay for one big ticket that'll let you on the ride that specific ticket is for. For example, instead of paying around 50 cents for individual tickets, you pay $6 to get a ticket to ride Boardwalk Bullet instead of paying $6 to get 12 tickets to ride that same ride. In a way, I think that Kemah Boardwalk has a more efficient ticketing system because you don't have to keep track of multiple tickets, and it's much easier to use the individual tickets. The only con I can think of is that you can't use those individual tickets on any ride, just the one it's specifically for, unlike the multiple ticket system where those tickets can work on any ride, just as long as you have enough of them. Anyway, once you get your tickets, you can either go to the right, then left to get to Saltgrass Junction and Boardwalk Bullet, or you can go left and do the other attractions and their Ferris wheel. You can also go behind you to get to their zip line called Iron Eagle. That's also where you can go eat at Bubba Gump Shrimp and the Flying Dutchman. But this is also where you can sign up for the park's boat ride called Boardwalk Beast. This is their 25-minute boat tour that goes around Galveston Bay. Tickets are $15 for kids and $20 for adults. I personally didn't do it, but if you're into that kind of stuff, you can do that here. Another cool attraction here is Boardwalk Tower, which is their observation deck. But it unfortunately was closed when I went, so you won't be seeing any footage of the park from up there. They also have an oh-so-famous Larson Loop called Flare. They also have a Larson Drop Tower called Drop Zone, and that is probably one of the most intense types of drop towers out there. Instead of stopping at the top, like most drop towers, you waste no time and drop immediately after hitting the top, which I was not expecting, and it's really intense too. Easily a must-do at the park. There's also a Viking ship called Pharaoh's Fury. They, of course, have the Century Wheel, which is their Ferris wheel, but I think the weirdest attraction here is Aviator, which is this really odd swing ride where riders actually control the tilting of the ride by moving around a stick, which controls the wings on the side of the ride. So, depending on how you pilot it, you can either swing moderately or really fast. But don't get excited when I say fast, because this ride disappointed me. Definitely it was not worth the half-hour wait. Aside from those, they also have a few kiddie rides, such as Wonder Wheel, which if you've been to a park like Adventure City, you've likely seen. They also have Jungle Bounce, which is their frog hopper, a Zamperla Rock and Tug called Rocket, and a Tilt-A-Whirl called Hypnospin. They even have the Boardwalk Express, which is a CP Huntington train, and it goes around the entire park. It even goes under the salt grass, which I thought was really neat. Just goes to show how compact this park is once again. That's really all I have to say about the rides and attractions at the park, so let's get into the food. Kemah Boardwalk really only has 4 main restaurants: the Flying Dutchman, Bubba Gump Shrimp, Landry Seafood House, and Saltgrass. I only ate at the Saltgrass, but if you've ever eaten at one, you know the food here is pretty good. But honestly, what other parks have a Saltgrass, let alone a boardwalk park? The food itself is naturally going to be really good. I, of course, had a cheeseburger and fries as always, and I'd say that Saltgrass makes them much better than any of those chain parks can. Also, the Saltgrass offers some amazing photo ops of Boardwalk Bullet that in any other case you wouldn't be able to get. So if you're hungry and also want amazing photo and video spots, definitely eat here. Aside from the main restaurants, they also have a few small treat places as well as some food trucks and a couple other small food areas in the miniature City Walk area near the hotel. Before I end this review, I just want to talk about one last thing: the scenery. If I had to pick anything that this park does well, I'm honestly going to have to go with scenery and theming. It's not outstanding, but for a boardwalk park, it's amazing. If it were an ordinary park, it wouldn't be as impactful, but since it's at a boardwalk park, it adds just that bit of charm to it, especially Saltgrass Junction. And on top of the theming, the scenery of this park is breathtaking. From many parts of this park, you can look out into Trinity Bay and the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just absolutely stunning. Some of my favorite spots to look out into the sea include the top of Drop Zone and Boardwalk Bullet, and I'm sure the observation deck also offers some insane views. So that's going to wrap up my Kemah Boardwalk review. I would say try to come out and visit this park, but the problem is that it's really far away from any other major park, the closest one being Six Flags Fiesta Texas. But even then, it's still about a 3.5 hour drive. But if you're in the Houston area, or you're willing to come out here, then definitely be sure to visit this park. But that's just what I think of Kemah Boardwalk in Kemah, Texas. So let me know if you've been to this park in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.